Hello and welcome back to the Mayor's Update.
Yes, here we are together again. We were
Indeed.
doing it from two different places last week.
I was a little under the weather last week. Didn't
Right.
want to, compromise the running of the city by taking out the mayor with the man flu that I had. So
that could happen regardless. But thank you, Grayden, for being so kind. We're back to our normal in council's chambers at City Hall. We have two great guests tonight.
Just
so
fantastic.
I won't waste much time. You start intros and I'll say Stuffy the Elephant is also here tonight.
All right. We have a very special guest here with us. Her name is Aurora. She's from the Taco House. Yes. And as we know in St. Thomas, tacos are almost the #1 food group. So, Aurora, can you tell us a little bit about what you're doing? And this isn't the first time. You're from St. Thomas. You've been doing other things, and then you've come back onto the scene with a big splash.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me today. This is wonderful. We are getting ready. We are preparing everything. It's a big team getting everything ready for this grand opening on Saturday, May 4th. So we want to share our passion, tacos, Mexican food.
4 days, just counting down.
4 days.
Not doing the
4
countdown.
days. But our passion, Mexican food, authentically made. My parents, my family will be there, and we will be so happy to see everybody who comes. We will have music. We will have some special guests, salsa dancers. We will have...
And the live music, talk a little bit about the live music, because when you say music, this isn't just like, a DJ putting up a speaker.
No, this is real music.
Yep, we're going to have mariachis.
Oh, yeah.
Mexican mariachis. We're going to have salsa. There's going to be a DJ for salsa music. And we have a special group of salsa dancers who are going to be teaching us a little bit of moves. And then we're going to be having some other guests participating so we can have some delicious beverages. And,
excellent.
The Caps Off, one of our other sponsors.
Right. That's right.
I would be
great friends of almost all of us. So,
yes.
Yeah.
And I would be remiss to say that you've actually come on as a sponsor of the Mayor's Update to help get the municipal message out into the public. So you're actually helping us put this message out there.
The location of Taco House is so convenient for the mayor.
I think it's also convenient for everybody.
Oh, no, clearly for everyone, but yes.
Yeah, especially for the mayor. It's right across the street.
Directly across
from
from City Hall. And if you can find the clock tower, you can just turn to your left then, or to your right, and you'll find it. It's right there.
Or just follow the smell.
Oh, yeah. That is the mayor's fear.
Well,
What is lunch? What is lunch? Yeah.
There you go. I have to say, you won't miss it.
No.
It's right across the street from City Hall.
Yeah.
You can follow the smell or you can see the sign.
Yes.
It's going to be there.
Yep. I also want to mention, too, in terms of like St. Thomas and tacos, like I was saying how popular they are.
Yes.
And on Established Media, I post things. I do a lot of food posts because I obviously enjoy food. So it has another taco place, and I posted right after the Eclipse. And the Eclipse, it was over 30,000 people checked out my Eclipse photo. So I was like, that's great. That's probably one of the best photos I'll ever have. So, and then I went out for tacos with my family the day after, and over 40,000 people.
I know.
Yeah. No, food is a motivator, and you want likes or actions on any social media. Talk about food more than City Hall.
And you know what they were saying? They were saying, you know what? I really wish there was a taco place in downtown St. Thomas, so we didn't have to drive this far.
Well,
now there is.
We saw the
Almost.
sign. Yeah, almost. We're just
Saturday,
about there.
You will know where to find some
Great.
tacos.
So tell us, okay, everybody knows what a taco is, right? Authentic Mexican taco.
Yes.
What else is on the menu?
Oh, we're going to have some signature dishes. And we're starting with 3 signature dishes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is huaraches. They're basically a thicker tortilla. It's an oval tortilla, and it has whatever protein you'll prefer, and different toppings on top. And it's with beans, but everything is with corn tortilla.
Corn tortillas, and you make them yourself.
Yes.
Right.
We're making them right on the spot.
Yeah.
And they're going to be fresh every single day, just like all the meats that we're going to be cooking. And guacamole will be fresh. We will be making it 2 or 3 times a day, depending on how busy we get.
I'm sorry, I have to go.
Very
I'm
good.
too hungry now.
Across the street?
No, yeah.
You know, get some
it's too-
samples?
Yeah, it's too late. Yeah.
But we're also having one other signature, which is flautas. Those are
Right.
little taquitos that are rolled
Yeah.
and fried, and they're served with, it's like a guacamole salsa.
Yes.
It's a little bit loose guacamole
Right.
and some sour cream, cheese. It's delicious. So
Wow.
don't miss it
And
out.
desserts. I saw some desserts on your website. Let's not miss those.
Yes, we are carrying some paletas, which are from another company, local company. They're from Paletas Pasión.
Okay.
She's a local girl who started her business a couple years ago. They're Mexican authentic paletas. They're popsicles. We have arroz con leche, which is like a rice pudding.
Yep.
But it's
Yeah.
authentic.
But it's with a Mexican flavor to the rice pudding.
Right.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
we have tres leches cake. That's it's a kind of cake that it's wet.
Yeah, I was going to say
And
creamy, but yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's wet
Yeah.
inside. It's really good.
Oh, look,
It's really-
food I know. This
Yeah.
is good stuff.
Absolutely. Well, Aurora, thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Right?
And
And
thank you for
we want to
having
have you back on again in a month or so after to tell us how it really went. Of course, we'll know because we'll be visiting almost daily.
And we want tacos. For that, we'll do a
that show.
taster.
Yeah.
I will bring some samples. I will bring some tacos.
Stuffy,
So,
we got tacos. Yeah.
yeah, we'll have to move him around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Right. Yeah.
We'll talk about the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
by the way, we got the big
I
scissors.
guess
So
we've been
will be
loaning
ready.
out our big scissors, so we're all set to do the grand opening across the room.
Awesome. Thank you
Right.
so much
Thank
for
you.
having me, guys.
Awesome. All right. And we'll be right back after the commercial break with our next guest, Mayor Andrew Sloan. Are you looking for a one-of-a-kind gift for a family member, friend, colleague, or long-serving community member? Then look no further. I can create the perfect piece of art to bring joy into their lives. Fire me an email at grayden@langstudios.com or give me a call at 647-269-4415. I look forward to talking to you and creating a unique piece of art that will be treasured for years to come.
You and I, we were meant to be. I feel it in my soul. Feel it in my soul. Never said.
And we're back. We're
Yes.
live again.
Look at how fast we move guests in, move
Yeah.
guests out. This is
Boom,
incredible, right?
Yeah.
Thanks, Aurora from Taco House, and
Mhm.
we'll be seeing a lot more of her this week. But a really special guest with us also is Mayor Andrew Sloan from Central Elgin. He and I have been working for almost a year, or a little over a year, I guess, on a really huge project, and that's the compensation to Central Elgin for the land that was moved from Central Elgin into St. Thomas. And we wanted to make sure we came up with a solution that did the right things for Central Elgin. And because of the building of the new PowerCo plant here, the right things to St. Thomas isn't as hard to accomplish.
Yeah.
But as neighbors, we also found a really great way we could work together on servicing and in the future revenue of Central Elgin by saying, here's a way to grow. Here's a bunch of different servicing and ways to help. So we hope we got it right. I've been following social media pretty good for the last 8 days or 9 days since you and I signed that agreement, and I think it's been pretty well accepted. There's always some naysayers, but for the most part, it's been, I think, well done.
I agree, Joe. I mean, as you say, we worked on it for 14 months and had a lot of expert opinion on both sides. The problem with social media is I don't think most people that are on there, or not most people, but those that you say might be in opposition, I don't think understand the deal. They might be well-intentioned, but it's a unique deal in the history of Ontario because of Bill C-63 or with respect to the boundary adjustment. So, I mean, I think that having the access to wastewater, doubling the capacity for Central Elgin, no one can sort of criticize the fact that puts us in good stead for the next 20, 40, 75 years.
Generationally, moving forward, being able
Absolutely.
to create new industrial sites for Central Elgin,
Right.
along at the same time as we're creating them for St. Thomas, but much more residential too.
Yeah, especially with the site plans and providing wastewater capacity for that and bringing the psych hospital online, sooner than anyone would have thought,
Right.
and having the ability to do so. So I agree. I think that the lion's share of people think it's good news because they know that it's a step forward for Central Elgin. And there's always going to be some Monday morning quarterbacks, but I think that
in our case, Monday night, because we're going to talk about it at council on Monday night in open session for really the first time, and get it done. So people will know what we're doing, and I know that you've had a great chance and a lot of conversation among your council and staff too.
Yeah, and I mean, our council supported it, unanimously, as I think yours did.
Yeah.
If you look at the opportunities, perhaps the average person in Central Elgin's asking, what does it do for me?
Yep.
And I think over the next weeks and months, we'll explain that, and we'll roll out some of the advantages. Wastewater isn't the sexiest thing in the world, but as a person that's newer, year and a half into municipal life, I understand now the importance of infrastructure, the cost of infrastructure, and this provides us and our community with some future forecasts that's a lot less expensive than it would have been had we done this on our own.
Yeah. As for those of you who haven't heard kind of the particulars, we'll just really quickly, St. Thomas will be for the land that came into St. Thomas from Central Elgin, $10 million during July of 2024. Followed by $5 more million in 2028, 29, 2030, 2031, 2032, $1 million each of those years. That's kind of a cash up front. Let Central Elgin do what it needs to do with it, and it helps you look at your growth in your community and be able to do that. But then, as we build a brand new pollution control plant, a new wastewater plant here in St. Thomas, we're given 7.7 megaliters. I can't picture what size a megaliter of sewage looks like, but it is a day, 7.7 megaliters a day that Central Elgin can take from St. Thomas, move up. It wouldn't be all at once, of course. It'll be as we do this or this that we give it to them. And that helps them to grow new residentials. You can't even do planning on a new residential or on a new industry unless you can to the planning department say, okay, where's the wastewater coming from? And how much wastewater is there? So by working together, we've made it so that we can look to the future for St. Thomas and Central Elgin. Look, there's no kidding. As we build industries in both of our communities, we need a lot more places to put people too. And that helps us with this.
Right. And our industrial lands, 6,000 cubic.
About six megaliters.
Sorry,
or
you
six
use megaliters.
Yeah,
I use 1,000 cubic meters.
Right.
But our industrial lands now will have the same advantage as your industrial lands with respect to access to wastewater.
Right.
So some industries use a lot, some industries don't use as much. But ultimately, the council and myself, when we ran, everyone said, how do you subsidize for the residential ratepayer water taxes? You
have more industrial.
And
so
we
we
haven't
said
had
the
it.
same thing. So we went after and did the same thing.
Right. And we haven't had that. And I think this gives us the opportunity going forward to attract some investment. And that's an exciting opportunity.
There's a very large swath of industrial land in Central Elgin, just south of the industrial land in the city of St. Thomas. And already marketing. It's along a rail line. It's got almost all of the stuff we have, but what it didn't have was the access to some of the servicing. Well, we said, yeah, we can make that work. Let's make that work in that area of Central Elgin near St. Thomas. We recognize most of the growth is going to happen within, a kilometer or so of our borders of each of us. And so we've got to make this work. And we keep attracting a lot of new people to the area and to St. Thomas. I almost always just say St. Thomas, but it's the area. And we've got to be able to house them and find them jobs, make parks for them, do roads, and all of the other great stuff that this agreement will help us with.
And speaking of that, a part of the agreement is the wastewater that will be allocated to the psych property. So Central Elgin is now looking at turning that into housing, and that it's owned by the provincial government.
Right.
So what's going to happen is that'll be handed over to Central Elgin.
Well, I don't know about hand it over.
Well,
I think
Is a 100-year lease or something?
It will become available
so
for purchase, basically.
Stay tuned.
Yeah,
there has to be some. The provincial government announced in their budget that there was a fund to clean up sites.
Right.
So I think for 2024 and the sort of shorter to midterm, they'll be cleaning up the site, and then we'll look at how it's done. I want to mention, you said, Joe, the new people that are coming to town.
Yeah.
Here's 3. your new CAO,
Yep.
our new CAO who's introduced today, Carrie Hurd,
Oh, good.
and Elgin County CAO. So
Right.
3 new CAOs, 3 people that can help as this region looks to
Yes.
improve, 3 people that were attracted here because of the growth and the opportunity. And I think that shows a little bit of how we're looking to the future and how they want to be part of an exciting future. So three new
No,
CAOs.
and that's great to hear. Yours is announced today too. Fantastic. We need to have that type of cooperation and coordination also. You can't live in a vacuum in the municipal world. There's other people out there.
Yeah.
And we talked last week about with Sandra moving to London, how much our relationship with London will really improve. So that brings a pretty good 4 into the forefront, right? And in talking to the other municipalities in Elgin, specifically Southwold is another one that borders on both of us, and we know we've got to continue to work with them, and they're seeing some fairly significant growth too. Good on them and good on all of us if we can coordinate this. We call it planning for smart growth. We plan it. Instead of letting growth just take over, we let growth come and we plan on it. And this is a big plan that we had to put together to do. And you don't mind me saying it wasn't easy, but I want to thank MPP Flack for his role that he played in this too. This was the provincial government. He's our provincial representative, and he spent a lot of time poking the two of us to say, where are we now? Where are we now? What can we do? And if we did this, wouldn't it be better? Yes, Rob, it would.
No, and I think you're right.
Right.
Rob deserves a lot of credit.
Yeah.
He's a business person and he understood the business. He also wants everyone to win. He wants
Right.
St. Thomas to win, Elgin County to win, and Central Elgin to win because that's his riding.
Yeah.
So it was a good, I think he was a good contribution.
And in the deal, it was announced it was $80 million in both cash and in kind.
Right. Well, the amount of how we price that, a megaliter of wastewater costs about $8 million to build facility 4. Well, we're going to try and build another 25 megaliter plant. Well, 8 million times that is $200 million or a little north of it. And so when we give the capacity, we allow the capacity that we've said is going to Central Elgin, there's that much cost into the plant that now doesn't yet have to be built by Central Elgin. I expect in Central Elgin's future, they'll be able to live with this for quite a while, but they'll eventually have to have more wastewater facilities of your own. You have one down Port Stanley Way, of course.
And there's lagoons in Belmont.
Right.
We'll wait for any new wastewater after my time as mayor.
Oh, no, it is not easy.
The value, Grayden, of the wastewater from sort of asking a consulting firm range from 60 to 80 million.
Yeah.
So, if you put 60 and 15, that's 75, 70,
or 85, or it's in that neighborhood.
So it's a tremendous
Okay.
value, and it's generational, as Joe said.
Yeah.
So, you don't want to make it so that if there was like a certain amount up front, this council or the next council might find a project that they wanted to invest more in than maybe they should. It provides the ratepayer in Central Elgin with stability into the future.
Right.
And that was incumbent upon me, and I think that's what the council wanted. People said about, maybe taxes in perpetuity. We're getting value in perpetuity with respect to wastewater access.
And a guarantee that the cost of that wastewater to Central Elgin will be locked into whatever St. Thomas is charging its ratepayers.
Okay.
It cannot be different. So we said, we'll allow this much servicing to come your way, but we're not going to all of a sudden say, but your servicing is this much more money. Right? It's a great way to make us work together, allow us to work together and see fantastic. The grass is greener on the other side. This puts the grass green on both sides of the fence. It is really quite good. When Central Elgin can grow right alongside St. Thomas, we're in pretty good shape.
And I think that back to the communications piece, great. The first announcement, that's the province, that's St. Thomas and Central Elgin. And then, as I say, we explain it to the average ratepayer in Central Elgin over the next weeks and months, exactly what it means to them and what the opportunities are, and look for some input on some of the opportunities. So I think it's an exciting time, and we'll see. You're never going to please all the people, but if we did, that'd be too easy.
I've never seen it in any of my time in politics, but you're right. It would be.
It is. Yeah, it's very exciting. And then another thing
is really positive.
Yeah, there people are asking about in terms of like the build at the old psychiatric facility is whether or not there's going to be a portion of that that's affordable housing. that will be included in the plans from Central Elgin during that development? Because I know that St. Thomas, I was talking to Mayor Joe about it, and St. Thomas puts in a percentage of the new build that has to be affordable housing.
Using our CIP to do such a thing.
So they talk about affordable and attainable. I'm not
Right.
sure
Yeah.
specifically.
It's, yeah.
And even where the rule lies on each of those.
Yeah. So I think that, although we would be looking at some development that would be planning that area, I can guarantee you that obviously there's an interest in having a certain portion and a mixed community, because I think that's also what the government wants, are mixed communities.
And you and I have talked many times that we believe affordability not only comes from direction of councils, because it can, but it comes from supply and demand.
Right.
The more supply we have, the better the affordability is going to be. Well, we just found a place where we can build, I don't want to take your thunder, between 5,000 and 10,000 homes, right? And that's going to help us with some availability. So.
Yeah.
Could possibly double the population of Central Elgin for the site plans.
Mhm.
Up to 15,000 people.
Yeah. No, it's a massive development and
Right.
very
And
positive
that'll
for
be
the
over,
community.
a decade,
No,
or
it
decades.
starts now,
Yeah.
right? The preparation and the getting ready and the divestiture from the province, and then the planning of what it looks like. But if we're not looking that far out, we're not doing our jobs well as municipal politicians. And will we be here for the end of all of this stuff? I don't.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope I will be.
Yeah. Well,
I can't speak for you guys, but
well,
You're going to be the next.
I'm aging quickly. No.
I see you as a, sort of the next Hazel McCallion.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Not for me, but
Somebody explain this to Stephanie. Just a second, I'll get her on for it. No, we're having too much fun doing it though. And what's really fun now
Mhm.
is we went through a bunch of months here where it wasn't good. It wasn't
Yeah.
pleasant because we were busy negotiating. It's never easy to do it.
I
I love being friends with Andrew Sloan, and so now we're back being that again. And it makes honestly, I slept a lot better after last Friday's
I'm
announcement.
sorry I blocked you on Facebook.
No, I didn't know you had. No, okay.
Well,
I actually don't think that you were always personally very,
No,
very,
well.
there was never really real animosity. I mean, I think there were challenges.
Oh,
but
yeah.
they were pragmatic
You
challenges.
say, can we
It was-
really do this?
it was pretty tense that one debate the chamber put on, the mayor's luncheon.
mayor's lunch.
Not the last one, but the one before that, about a year ago. That one was a little bit tense.
That was the one with Sally Martin. And yeah, okay,
was
that
me.
might have been.
I don't
No,
think
you were
that-
great then. So
Don't worry,
yeah.
I didn't tee up.
Look, I've got
Right.
friends, even when, I said this federally and I'll say it municipally. I go out here to make friends, not to make enemies. I don't remember making one, so we'll just go ahead and it's just, if your neighbor asks for help, you should say yes, right?
We'd
And
hope
if
so.
you've got something your neighbor needs, you should say, well, okay, let's work that out. How do we make that happen, right?
Yeah.
We needed the land. The province dictated we needed the land in order to build the PowerCo plant.
Right.
And so we said, okay, what else do we have that Central Elgin could use and need?
Mhm.
Grayden, there's one other thing. If you look at, you try to use a hockey analogy. If we're the Leafs and you're the Habs that are Habs and Leafs, don't get me.
Wait. I don't know if this is
You're going to paint me with this, bro.
wow.
Two anonymous
Especially how they're doing right
Yeah.
now. I don't know.
Two hockey teams. That some
How-
people
where
love.
are they at? Are
Yeah.
they starting in like 4 minutes?
Okay. The Centrals and the Thomases. So usually the Centrals and the Thomases switch a few players, and the NHL comes in and signs off and says, okay, and we do the negotiating between
Right.
us. In this case, the NHL said, St. Thomas, you're getting 3 players from Central.
It was
Work it out.
dictated to us.
It came from the top down.
Yeah.
It was turned on its side.
Mhm.
So at the end of the day, you can't look at an agreement like, people talk about Toyota or brand. It's not the same, right? I mean, the equivalent there is the NHL said, you're getting those 3 players, work it out.
Let's go.
Okay?
Hey,
that's
and
what have
we
to
know
do.
you can. And
Yeah.
we kept looking at going, I know we can. It's just calm ourselves down. Let's get this to the end.
Yeah.
But,
Well,
but back to your point, just Joe, about receiving it. I mean,
Yeah.
the people that I've met have been very pleased, and I think
Yeah.
that ultimately that's the best barometer for me.
Yeah.
And
Me too. What I hear out there is a lot, tells me whether we're doing the job right or not. And I've heard pretty good stuff about both of us in this last 10 days. So.
Mhm. Well, I think from talking to various municipalities across Ontario, what I hear is that wastewater is the number one deterrent to actually developing the communities
Sure.
right now in terms
Sure.
of infrastructure.
Yeah.
So if Central Elgin can get that and St. Thomas can also get that and the province is helping, then we
Yeah,
all
there's
win.
not enough money out there for every municipality to get what they want in wastewater cash. Now, so you've got to, over years, plan for your next one
Yeah.
and make the ones you start now. The next one we build will be very expandable. They're getting better technology, but they're still really expensive to
Yeah.
do, and they take so long from an environmental assessment point of view.
Yeah, and when I was over in Australia, I was talking to a guy about it over there. It's very complicated there too.
Yeah.
It's really fascinating.
I bet.
Let's talk about that elephant in the room,
Okay.
which I just love this. The heritage nature of those buildings. Like, they may not have a designation, the ones that are in the old psych facility, because they were a previous the Canadian Air Force base.
Or nursing training school.
Have
a
you
bunch of
even
things.
got to the point where you're talking about what would happen to those buildings? Will, like, 'cause some people have said, it'd be great to have the facade stay, and then you could build towers that use that facade, kind of playing on that same architectural style. Is that even on the? Have you guys talked about that all, or is that all coming up?
I think we're going to hear that. From
We hear those conversations already,
Yeah.
but the province has to come now with how that land will transfer to become house building land. And so when it does, there may be some stipulation on what has to happen. There is also, I mean, I agree with you. There's some beautiful facades on those buildings, but how easy, I'm not an engineer, how easy is it to slice the front off and put it on the front of an apartment building? I'd like us to use as much density as we possibly can in that area too, because we're just getting better at that too. Is not sprawling single family homes, but let's put density and affordability in both of our minds as to what should happen.
As opposed to having something sit empty that's been there sitting empty for 30 or 40 years.
Yeah,
Joe,
that makes no sense.
have you been through the building?
No, just to peek in a window.
Well, I'm going to take you through.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
We went
Great.
through at Christmas, and I took the staff through, and I think it's worth you coming out and taking
All right.
a look.
I'd love to do it because I've been asked. I mean, of course, most of my citizens think that's in St. Thomas. I mean, during COVID, we were looking for other things to use. Well, why don't you use your own old hospital? It's not mine. It's in a different municipality, and it's owned by the province. Love to think it was possible, but look at the possibles that we've done that now we can move forward on.
And speaking of possibles, regional transit has now been set up between Middlesex, London, and St. Thomas.
Right.
Is Central Elgin looking at connecting into that network? Because we have Port Stanley that's right down there that everyone loves to go to during the summertime.
I thought there was something to Port Stanley at one point.
Well, there's been on and off a little bit, but if I can jump on that one too.
Rosie.
Yeah, the cab. Yeah.
Classic institution.
We will have to put St. Thomas Transit out into the psych hospital lands. That you just heard that from the mayor. We will have to do that. It will be. There's no sense building a development like that doesn't have a way to get connected to the rest of the community. So that has to happen. But the regionality, whether it's Port Stanley or Elmer, we'll need to have good conversations with the municipalities involved there. And since this is a Middlesex project that's got us involved in the Connect to London, I think we have to involve Elgin in this too, right? And what's the affordability of it? Transit is so expensive. It's funny how busy this line has been. It's paying some of its bills. So that's when you get transit that pays its own bills, even in a little way, that's a good thing to have. So we'll talk a lot more about that one. We've got a couple years on some of these things, so we can plan them well before we have to jump forward and do them.
That's a good point.
All right, we're running to the end of our time. We've got just about a minute left before the show's end. Mayor Sloan, Mayor Preston, are there any final notes you want to throw in for our audience?
It's amazing. I'll just say real quick, it's amazing how many big things that you weren't think were possible can happen when different levels of government all work together. In our case, the federal government, the provincial government, and the other municipalities. And then even as we move along, it takes all of us working together, and the impossible is possible.
For me, I think, Grayden, that this deal is a foundation for future success for Central Elgin. I refer to it as a path to prosperity, but it will be a monumental change as we go forward and develop both residentially and industrial lands, and it's an exciting time.
Yeah.
So
Awesome. Well,
We love it.
yeah, me too.
All
Thanks so much for joining us, both of
Great.
you. It's been fantastic. Thanks to our sponsors,
Yes.
our viewers, everybody, and we'll see you next week. Take care, everybody.